Mac's Fleetwood Mac's lyrics sum this moment up best. The landslide, bring it down. This landslide was captured on camera, spilling onto a California highway. Thankfully, no one was hurt while the earth and trees cascaded down the mountain. Biden's pandemic game plan. The new president, in his first full day of office, vowing to administer 100 million vaccine doses in his first 100 days and issuing new mask mandates for public transportation. Biden warning things will get worse before they get better. 100,000 more Americans dead by next month. Biden slamming the Trump administration, but now on the path forward. What will this new administration need to tackle first? Vaccine in short supply, the agony of having to wait while the virus continues to spread. Many turned away states fight for more doses, and the growing concerns over the virus mutations and variants, and questions about whether the vaccines will still work. New developments as the crackdown continues on the mob who stormed the Capitol. The FBI offering a reward for the suspect who planted bombs nearby. The man allegedly seen crushing a D.C. police officer in a doorway, now in custody. Plus, the new development in the Senate impeachment trial of former President Trump. Senator Mitch McConnell is now asking for a delay. And on the same day rioters stormed our capital in Hong Kong, pro-democracy protesters were being rounded up. President Trump made his feelings clear about China. What will a Biden administration do? Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. You may not remember the exact moment, but 1 year ago today, the world as we knew it started to shift. It all started with a small press release from the CDC announcing the first confirmed case of COVID-19 in America, prompting a chain of events few could have imagined. On January 21st, 2020, the CDC said it continued to believe the risk of COVID-19 to the American public at large remained low. Since that day, roughly 1 in 13 Americans has contracted COVID-19, and at least 408,877 Americans have died. That's more Americans than the roughly 400,000 veterans buried at Arlington National Cemetery. Speaking this afternoon, President Biden called this a wartime effort and pledged to move heaven and earth to get more people vaccinated. The virus is now so prevalent in some hard-hit communities. Warning signs like these are now going up, cautioning high-risk COVID areas. And tonight, in Dr. Fauci's first briefing in the new administration, he expressed concern over new mutations of the virus, saying it is all the more reason to vaccinate people quickly. Our Kaylee Hartung leads us off tonight with more on the unprecedented effort now underway.
President Biden has vowed to make his administration's COVID-19 response his #1 priority.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
His inauguration falling on the 1-year anniversary of the first confirmed COVID case in the U.S. Through the course of that day, 4,377 more Americans reported dead from the virus.
But you have my word that we will manage the hell out of this operation.
For his first 100 days in office, Biden setting the goal of administering 100 million vaccine doses. His administration touting their plan as ambitious. But the previous administration was already on par with that pace, recently hitting the milestone of vaccinating 1 million people per day. And yet some say that might not be enough. Heartbreaking scenes like this in Florida, people lining up for hours, eagerly awaiting a shot, only to be turned away. Local leaders across the country saying they've run out of doses, now left to wait for more supply.
The state of Michigan had a shortfall of about 50,000 vaccines.
In Madera County, California, more than 800 people had their appointments canceled until the next shipment arrives. New York City temporarily closing some of its vaccine hubs and rescheduling thousands of appointments for next week.
We've had to tell 23,000 New Yorkers who had an appointment this week that they will not be able to get that appointment for lack of supply.
New York, one of many states frustrated by the distribution process.
As the hardest hit state, that we went from getting 300,000 doses a week, which is actually paltry compared to the population we need to serve, down to 250,000.
States have been playing a guessing game, only learning week to week how much more vaccine they'll get.
They were getting informed you'll get this amount of vaccine next week, but that doesn't really help them project out how many total first doses they can give or how many second doses they need to have available.
The Trump administration set a goal to deliver 20 million vaccines to Americans by the end of 2020, but ultimately fell short. Of the 35 million doses distributed so far, roughly 16 million have been administered, according to the CDC. Biden proposing $20 billion to develop a national vaccination program, setting up mobile units in hard-to-reach communities and large vaccination centers in areas with bigger populations. In Alabama, Jim and Sandy Mariner showed up to receive their shots, only to find out no one was there to administer them after a scheduling mix-up.
We waited a long time for this. It's finally here. And then when the opportunity comes, somebody dropped the ball. We're still waiting to get our shots. Like
many Americans, Jim is scared to wait any longer to get vaccinated.
I have a dire need for the vaccine. If I catch this thing, I'm gone.
So I'm going to have you pull down into lane 1 right here, please.
Earlier this week, here in hard-hit Los Angeles County, we visited a mega site that's vaccinating thousands a day. With this shot, 65-year-old Kathleen Dragovich is one step closer to seeing her 91-year-old mother, who she hasn't seen in over a year.
We'll email you in a couple of days to schedule the second shot.
Kathleen registered for an appointment online, then was in and out of the drive-through site in an hour.
How lucky do you feel that this was so easy?
This was the easiest thing. This is wonderful.
Long Beach Mayor Robert Garcia says it took 6 months of planning to set this operation up to run smoothly.
We are not kind of carving up our vaccines and then planning out the next 3 weeks. We are trying to get through every single dose that we have as fast as possible. So what I tell people is if we run out of vaccine, that is a good problem to have.
The mission to get his community vaccinated is deeply personal to Mayor Garcia. His mother and stepfather both died of COVID over the summer.
I don't want people to go through like what I went through, and so I know every vaccine to me is like someone's life being saved.
Brianna Trejo also lost both her parents just days apart to COVID. Her father, a frontline worker, received the first dose of the vaccine, but died waiting for his second shot.
We're just like, okay, he gets the first dose, we'll get it, and then we'll be fine, you know, but I guess we just ran out of time.
122,000 people are currently hospitalized with the virus. Field hospitals, like something you'd see in a war zone, have been built up coast to coast to manage the crushing overflow of COVID patients. Orange County, California opened its 4th field hospital this week, with 52 more beds to treat COVID patients.
We're seeing close to 3,000 new cases a day. In the last week, we've seen more than 20,000 new infections.
Researchers now tracking another new variant of the virus in California, linked to a growing number of infections.
It turns out that the reason why these variants are emerging is simply because we don't have the pandemic under control.
Just as more cases of the highly contagious UK variant are detected across the U.S.
Right now, from the reports we have, literally as of today, it appears that the vaccines will still be effective against them. With the caveat in mind, you want to pay close attention to it.
But many Americans are still wary of getting the shots. According to a recent ABC News Washington Post poll, only 2/3 of Americans plan to get vaccinated.
The heart of the issue has been about transparency and following the science, right? The lack of communication and sort of synthesized information that can arm the public with the response, that has been the issue.
Public health officials are actively trying to reach the people who are hesitant, especially communities of color.
Scientific information doesn't always land well with communities who are hesitant or who have concerns or who have felt that they've been marginalized in the past. And so I think it's really important to engage with the communities, hear what the communities have to say. What are they concerned about? What information do they need to feel confident in the vaccines?
The bottleneck in the distribution process has created the biggest challenge. Moderna and Pfizer are producing 10 million doses each week, but the lack of infrastructure to keep pace with demand is holding things back.
There need to be sufficient resources to support adequate vaccine manufacturing and also getting additional resources to state and local governments because they have been inadequately resourced in the past and really need to ramp up their manpower, their workforce, their IT systems.
Biden admits that the way forward will be tough.
The brutal truth is it's going to take months before we can get the majority of Americans vaccinated.
Still, public health experts say Biden's more aggressive response could turn the tide.
I think we'll start to see a real bending of this epidemic curve. Every sort of incremental immunization that we do, we'll start to see the impact at scale. And so within 100 days, I'm very optimistic that while we may not be out of the pandemic and out of the full risk, we will see, a real bright light at the end of the tunnel.
For ABC News Live, I'm Kaylee Hartung in Los Angeles.
Sounds like the potential for better days is ahead. Our thanks to Kaylee for that. President Biden has made tackling the pandemic the top focus right at the start of his administration. Today, he signed 10 executive orders aimed at slowing the spread of the virus and speeding up getting more vaccines to Americans. For the latest, let's bring in senior White House correspondent Mary Bruce. Mary, the president today emphasized those actions to ramp up vaccine production and try to get more doses out to Americans. And he also outlined new travel restrictions and again pushed Americans to take steps to wear a mask. Tell us what they're doing on those fronts.
Yeah, well, Lindsay, President Biden is urging Americans essentially to do their part, saying everyone needs to mask up for these first 100 days of his administration. We know that he's now mandated masks on all federal property and during interstate travel, but he's taking it a step further, adding additional travel restrictions. So everyone flying to the U.S. from another country will have to test negative before getting on that plane and quarantine when they arrive here in the U.S.
And President Biden also addressed whether his goal of 100 million doses in 100 days is enough. You asked Dr. Fauci today in the briefing room about the pace of vaccinations. What did he and the president have to say?
Well, they certainly believe that 100 million vaccinations in 100 days is achievable. That puts you, they say, on pace for about twice as many daily vaccinations as was the goal under the Trump administration. But then the question is, well, when will the majority of Americans be vaccinated? When can we all return to some semblance of normalcy? Dr. Fauci said that he thinks between 70 to 85% of the country could be vaccinated by the fall. That would allow you to maybe get back to a little bit of that normalcy. But he also had a lot of ifs to that, a lot of caveats, saying, of course, one of his biggest concerns is that even if that's achievable, you still have to get people to be willing and interested in getting that vaccine. He is deeply still concerned about a hesitancy to vaccinations, which is part of the reason why part of President Biden's goal here, part of his strategy here, is not just to slow the spread of this virus and also boost distribution, but also outreach. Getting folks on board with this plan is a big part of this strategy too, Lindsay.
And the Biden team also said today that their efforts to tackle the pandemic from day one have been made more difficult because of the lack of coordination with the outgoing Trump administration.
Yeah, I think they were very surprised by what they were inheriting here. In fact, they have said that it was far worse than what they were expecting. They've been surprised by just the lack of overall coordinated distribution plan and supply issues as well. Now, Dr. Fauci was pressed on this, and he made it clear, look, it's not as if the Biden administration is starting from scratch, but he also made clear that they are going to have to build up and boost their planning in a very big way, Lindsay.
Mary Bruce reporting in from the White House. Thanks so much, Mary.
Thank you.
The White House was fully focused on the pandemic today, but we also have some late developments on Capitol Hill tonight regarding the timing of an impeachment trial for former President Trump in the Senate. Our Rachel Scott joins us now from Washington. Rachel, Mitch McConnell wants to push the trial until at least February at this point. Bring us up to speed on that.
Yeah, let's break this all down, Lindsay. So you have House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. She says that article of impeachment is now ready to go. So we were expecting her to send that over to the Senate by the end of the week. But she's waiting on the Senate to sort of formalize the rules of the trial. So now you have Minority Leader Mitch McConnell coming out and saying that he wants that trial to be pushed back to mid-February. He says this would buy the president more time to prepare his defense. He was just impeached 1 week ago. He sort of struggled to kind of put together a legal defense team. We're learning tonight that he has hired his first lawyer. Democrats, though, have to agree to this. So now that Democrats have control of the Senate, it's going to be up to Chuck Schumer to sort of get on the same page here with McConnell and Democrats and Republicans. He's saying that he's going to be reviewing McConnell's proposal, but this could actually play in the Democrats' favor. This would give them more time to sort of confirm Biden's cabinet nominees. We know if that impeachment trial were to move forward, it would be a lot for these lawmakers to juggle, Lindsay.
Yeah, we can imagine that. Okay, Rachel Scott, thank you. Joining us now, Pennsylvania Democratic Senator Bob Casey. Senator, thanks so much for your time tonight. First, would love to get your reaction to news now that Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is proposing a delay in the impeachment trial until February to give former President Trump time to prepare his defense. Now, the Senate obviously has a lot of work to get to right now on the pandemic and Biden's cabinet picks. So would you support a delay, or do you think that the trial should start sooner?
Well, Lindsay, good to be with you. I think that's a determination that has to be made by Speaker Pelosi in conjunction with Majority Leader Schumer. So I'll let them work that out. But I don't think the timing is necessarily the most important issue that we've got to confront. We have to make sure that we have a trial that is thorough but expeditious, but a trial that presents the evidence of the president's culpability here. There's just no question when you look at the evidence that we knew in the hours after the mob stormed the Capitol, but maybe even more so in the subsequent days, the president was able to enrage and incite a mob to come to the Capitol to seek out and have the intention of killing the vice president and the speaker, because they were the two counters, the two people counting the electoral votes by way of that process. So there has to be accountability for that on the president's part, whether he's in office or out of office.
Turning now to the pandemic for a moment and President Biden's ambitious $1.9 trillion stimulus proposal. Senator Romney said this week that he's not interested in a new stimulus in the immediate future, arguing that the Senate just passed $900 billion in spending. Senator Murkowski echoed that same sentiment as well, saying that the ink is barely dry on the $900 billion passed last month. Now, they are two of the more moderate Republicans, obviously, and some argue that $1.9 trillion is a huge amount. So how can President Biden win over Republicans on additional spending? And if not, are Democrats prepared to go this alone?
Well, first, I think it's important that President Biden, when he proposed this plan, he was President-elect Biden, the American Rescue Plan. I think it was important that he went big and bold, because this crisis, both the virus and all that's involved in that, including vaccine distribution and vaccinations and so many other issues, as well as the other part of this crisis, which is jobs and the economy. This is a kind of double crisis that requires a robust response. So I'm glad he went big. Now, we don't know where it will end up as a legislative proposal, but I will say this: it is a little bit ironic, and that's an understatement, when Republican senators are talking about how expensive this rescue plan is, when they were willing to vote for a tax bill in 2017, which was an obscenity in my judgment. It gave away the store to big corporations and rich people, did nothing for the middle class or workers. So I think it's a little bit hypocritical of Republicans to say that when we're facing a crisis. We're told that just in terms of Black and Latino families, half of those families are struggling to pay for food and rent. It's about time we help them.
Now, it appears that there is some bipartisan agreement to work together, at least on infrastructure. It will also obviously cost a lot of money. Do you think that you'll be able to find consensus with your colleagues on issues like this, despite the high price tags?
I hope so. I hope Republicans are as interested as Democrats in the Senate are at helping to rebuild the country. They did nothing for 4 years when they had a president, and for part of that 4 years when they had the House and the Senate. But there seems to be some impetus or some interest to move in that direction. I hope we can, because whether it's traditional infrastructure like roads and bridges, but maybe more importantly, and exposed by this pandemic, broadband, internet connectivity. Kids can't do their homework. It is as simple as that. Kids need to be able to do their homework. They need broadband.
Now, you, of course, represent Pennsylvania, including President Biden's hometown of Scranton. After a turbulent first few weeks of 2021, thankfully, everything went smoothly security-wise at the inauguration yesterday. What did it mean to see Biden take the oath of office for you yesterday after seeing his lifetime of service?
Well, I think it was a source of pride for those of us who know him a long time in a personal way, but those of us who, in my case, was like him, born in Scranton. I was raised in Scranton, still live there. So it was personal, but I think the biggest emotion many Americans had was relief that we finally have a president who's going to focus on the most urgent priorities: the virus, the economy, lifting up families at a time of crisis. Probably the worst set of crises or challenges that any president has faced since Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1933. So it's a sense of relief, and also a sense that we finally have a president with a plan to take on these crises. So we have a lot of work to do, but I think he's headed in the right direction.
Lots of work ahead, that's for sure. Senator Bob Casey of Pennsylvania, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
And now to the security situation in Washington, D.C. and the continued fallout from the siege on the Capitol. Tonight, authorities are still searching for information about those suspected pipe bombs and upping the reward. And the FBI arrest of a Georgia lawyer, what that attorney bragged about doing, and the sharp rebuke that he got from a judge. Here's ABC's Pierre Thomas.
Even as the arrests of those involved in the Capitol insurrection mount, one key suspect remains elusive. The person who planted those 2 pipe bombs at the nearby Democratic and Republican headquarters. Tonight, the FBI and ATF increasing the reward to $75,000 for any information about who's responsible. But as the hunt for the bomber continues, we're learning chilling details about other suspects arrested. Go home! Including authorities say this man, seen crushing D.C. police officer Daniel Hodges in that doorway. Patrick McCaughey of Connecticut, remaining in custody after being arrested following a tip to the FBI from a childhood friend. Also being held, William Calhoun, who allegedly bragged on social media about kicking down the door to Speaker Pelosi's office, part of an angry mob which he said would have torn her into pieces. In denying bail to Calhoun, who is an attorney, the judge described him as a threat, a man whose mind had been poisoned and who has no respect for the laws of the United States.
Many involved seem to have no regard for the law. We're joined now by Pierre Thomas. And Pierre, with this increased reward for information, what are authorities hoping to learn?
Well, they are looking for more information about the bomber. They want to know who was involved in setting up those bombs and also whether there is a broader plot, Lindsay.
And we learned today that Christopher Wray will continue on at the FBI and lead this investigation?
Yeah, he's been under threat of being fired by Trump for months, so he's going to survive. The White House said today he's staying put. So now he remains knee-deep in that Capitol Hill investigation.
I can imagine. Okay, Pierre Thomas, thanks so much. And when we come back, the terrifying moments leading up to a deputy being rammed into and the charges that suspect now faces. The latest job numbers are in. What can be done to turn things around? But up next, the research underway to help those battling COVID for multiple weeks or even months.
What kind of music do you want to make, Miss Franklin?
I want to make hits. I'm moving things forward for myself.
He's dragging you down.
You need me, Ree?
Hell, I do. Go get your respect.
Their slain bodies were found in Bear Brook State Park, wrapped in plastic in a barrel.
There's something so wicked going on right now.
My father, he's a serial killer. That's the first time I've said that.
So, what happens when a serial killer's daughter finally meets the family of her father's victims?
You must be Diane.
I am Diane.
And can you help solve the final piece of this mystery? The Stunning 2020, Friday night at 9/8 Central on ABC.
There's nobody that has not been touched by this pandemic. For the first time ever, we have to have each other's backs.
This is all we got.
Wicked Tuna, new season Sunday at 9 on National Geographic.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart they did this.
It's the time of suspicion.
The ending's really tough.
You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
What's the most innovative daily news podcast out there to listen to every day? Well, the Edward R. Murrow Awards say it's Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. Even the New York Times calls us a top news podcast worth listening to. So if you like getting behind the biggest news stories of the day, inside all the details, the backstory, and what will happen next, then listen to Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. It's like no other news podcast out there. Even the critics agree. Listen free on Apple Podcasts.
From inside our homes to your home, now is the time. We all just need each other. And that's why we love starting the day together with you. We'll see you in the morning on ABC's Good Morning America.
Take a look at these disturbing images. A woman accused of stealing a car tried to escape authorities when she rammed into a deputy. The 23-year-old driver was quickly arrested and is now facing second-degree attempted murder charges. That deputy was hospitalized, but fortunately, we're told, is expected to be okay. We turn now to a troubling COVID-19 mystery. Why do some people of all ages seem to recover and then later suffer from long-lasting, debilitating symptoms for months? Here's ABC's Janae Norman on what we're learning about these so-called long haulers.
Tonight, the crippling health impacts and debilitating side effects thousands of Americans are battling months after recovering from COVID.
You know, I was panicked. There was times where I felt like I was going to die.
They're called long haulers, people who experience persistent symptoms long after having COVID, including fatigue, depression, joint pain, and even heart problems. Gabriel Aguilar, a 28-year-old Connecticut soccer coach, is one of them. He caught a mild case of COVID in March. By June, he says far worse symptoms hit, making it tough to even get out of bed.
Dizziness. I just had pure dizziness for about 6 to 7 months.
So every day?
Every day.
In Chicago, 60-year-old Mahmoud Ajamia said before getting COVID, he was healthy, going on long-distance bike rides and running half marathons. But for months afterward, he's undergone rehab to regain basic skills.
This is really one of the most difficult experiences I had in my life.
More than 24.5 million Americans have tested positive for COVID-19, approximately 1 in every 13 Americans. And a UK study estimates that 10% of them suffered from long-term symptoms. Experts are now warning a new health crisis may emerge as this group grows.
These are very, very severe health impacts that are keeping people from working, keeping people from living their normal lives. And the most difficult part for a lot of patients is that, there just aren't many answers.
Still so much we don't know. We're joined now by Janae Norman. And Janae, with so many suffering from these long-lasting symptoms, how can they get help, and is the treatment covered by insurance?
Well, Lindsay, this is going to be a big issue that we're going to be watching for a while, but new post-COVID care facilities are popping up around the country. Here in Connecticut, the COVID Recovery Center, where Gabriel is being treated, says they've had more than 500 appointments since opening back in October. Anyone interested in treatment at one of those facilities should check with their insurance providers regarding coverage. Lindsay?
All right, very helpful information there. Janae Norman, thanks so much. Still ahead here on Prime, former President Trump considered them our biggest threat. But what does Biden think of our superpower rival, China? We'll examine the complex relationship coming up. Someone in Maryland is worth several $100 million, and there's still another massive jackpot out there, near $1 billion up for grabs. And it's one of the world's toughest feats, climbing K2, the Savage Mountain, as it's called, especially during the winter. We'll tell you an incredible story of how it was just done by the numbers. But first, our tweet of the day. Too much Bernie to choose from.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live, the 24/7 streaming news source, ABC News. Wow. Breaking news, live events as they happen, streaming live, non-stop, straight to you. Original, on the edge, breakthrough storytelling. From ABC News, National Geographic, ESPN, all designed differently for you to stream straight to any screen whenever you want, free. And imagine the most celebrated, epic live events and moments, all playing out right before your eyes.
See those flames behind me?
And go deeper inside the groundbreaking exclusives from the campaign trail. Only ABC News gets. Watch ABC News Live right now and anytime. Streaming on Roku, Hulu, Facebook, and abcnews.com.
ABC News Live.
Streaming everywhere, right to you.
ABC News Live.
What kind of music do you want to make, Miss Franklin?
I want to make hits. I'm moving things forward for myself.
He's dragging you down.
You need me, Ree?
Hell I do. Go get your respect.
There's nobody that has not been touched by this pandemic.
It's tough right now because, we're struggling.
We have serious demand issues. For the first time ever, we have to have each other's backs.
I see color. Here we go.
We're all in this together, and we have to make this work.
Well done, Spurs. This is all we got.
Wicked Tuna. New season Sunday at 9 on National Geographic.
Their slain bodies were found in Bear Brook State Park, wrapped in plastic in a barrel.
There's something so wicked going on right now.
My father, he's a serial killer. That's the first time I've said that.
So, what happens when a serial killer's daughter finally meets the family of her father's victims?
You must be Diane.
I am Diane.
And can you help solve the final piece of this mystery? The Stunning 2020, Friday night at 9/8 Central on ABC.
Welcome back, everybody. K2 is known as the Savage Mountain, straddling the border of Pakistan and China. It's one of the world's deadliest and yet most alluring peaks, and it had never been conquered in the winter until now. Here are the astonishing details by the numbers. Take a look at 10 Nepalese climbers receiving a hero's welcome today after becoming the first to summit K2 in the winter. 9 of them are Sherpa, people known for guiding other mountaineers to the planet's greatest heights, but who until now have never been credited with the most prized of first ascents. Rising more than 28,000 feet to the sky, K2 is the second tallest mountain in the world after Mount Everest. And of the world's 14 highest peaks, it's the only one that had never been climbed in the winter. Now, that's because temperatures drop to minus 76 degrees Fahrenheit and hurricane-force winds blow more than 125 miles per hour. And even in the safer months, 1 climber dies for every 4 who reach the summit of K2. Less than 400 people have ever made it safely to the top, about 1/10 of the number who have summited Mount Everest. These incredible climbers sang the Nepalese anthem as they peaked K2. The team leader today said, quote, "If you unite together, anything is possible." Congratulations to them. Still lots to get to tonight on Prime. The global realignment now underway due to the Biden administration. So many resets. And our conversation with a group of sorors from the same chapter as Vice President Kamala Harris, what they think about this moment. But first, a look at our top trending stories on abcnews.com.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. #1 in the morning, #1 in the evening, with America's most watched newscast. #1 in late night versus the competition. The #1 news magazine on Friday nights. #1 in politics across this historic election versus the competition. The #1 daytime talk show. And #1 in streaming news. ABC News is America's #1 news.
What kind of music do you want to make, Miss Franklin?
I want to make hits. I'm moving things forward for myself.
He's dragging you down.
You need me, Ree?
Hell, I do. Go get your respect.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown Hate, The War Among Us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
There's nobody that has not been touched by this pandemic.
It's tough right now because, we're struggling.
We have serious demand issues. For the first time ever, we have to have each other's backs.
I see color. Here we go.
We're all in this together, and we have to make this work.
Well done, Spurs. This is all we got.
Wicked Tuna. New season Sunday at 9 on National Geographic.
Their slain bodies were found in Bearbrook State Park, wrapped in plastic in a barrel.
There's something so wicked going on right now.
My father, he's a serial killer. That's the first time I've said that.
So, what happens when a serial killer's daughter finally meets the family of her father's victims?
You must be Diane.
I am Diane.
And can you help solve the final piece of this mystery? The Stunning 2020, Friday night at 9/8 Central on ABC.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart that he did this.
It's the time of suspicion. The ending's really tough.
You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
President Joe Biden spending his first full day in office focused on tackling the health and economic challenges caused by the coronavirus pandemic.
Our national strategy is comprehensive. It's based on science, not politics. It's based on truth, not denial. And it's detailed.
Biden signing 10 executive actions, including triggering the Defense Production Act to make COVID-19 supplies, requiring masks at airports, and requiring international travelers show proof of a negative COVID test before arriving stateside. He also aims to establish a testing board. These plans come on the heels of Biden having the U.S. rejoin the World Health Organization.
If we get the majority of Americans, 70 to 85% vaccinated by then, we could have a degree of herd immunity that would get us back to normal. The best case scenario for me is that we'd get 85% of the people vaccinated by the end of the summer.
Joblessness on the rise. 900,000 more Americans filing for benefits last week.
What's disturbing about this number is that none of the holiday data is included there. So it's kind of the first week of clean data that we've gotten. And it shows that, quite frankly, we're still struggling from a labor market perspective. So you have close to 16 million Americans receiving some form of unemployment benefit. We are now 44 weeks into this downturn based on COVID.
Experts say it may take another 2 weeks to get to the miners trapped after an explosion at a gold mine in China. They've already been trapped for 11 days. 10 are still alive and communicating with rescuers. 1 is confirmed dead after suffering head injuries. 10 more are still missing.
We have a winner. A winning Powerball ticket worth over $731 million was sold at this convenience store in Lonaconing, Maryland. The old coal mining town with few jobs and people, now known for selling the 5th largest Powerball ticket ever and the largest in the state. The lump sum, over $500 million. Maryland allows its winners to remain anonymous, so we may never know who it is.
3 other tickets worth about $1 million each were sold in New Jersey. The winning tickets were purchased in Haddonfield, Woodbury Heights, and Monmouth Junction.
And if you missed those chances, tomorrow night's Mega Millions jackpot is the 3rd largest ever, now worth roughly $970 million.
Dear President Biden,
we put out the call.
Dear Mr. President,
dear Madam Vice President, asking our young Americans what they hope for in this new administration.
One thing I hope for from the new administration is that you guys can get COVID under control and make sure to save lives instead of losing them.
I hope when you're the president, people will get along and be friends. Oh, and also I hope that you will ban homework.
Flying cars, automatic ones. For many, it was the history-making Vice President Kamala Harris they were excited about.
I hope that you'll be the greatest vice president in the world. We're gonna have our first woman vice president. I'm so excited to see a woman vice president that's Indian, just like me.
I think you are smart, pretty, and a good dancer. 11-year-old Charlie Patman was lucky enough to meet Kamala Harris multiple times.
I see someone who looks like me and has the same dreams and beliefs as me being vice president of our nation. She says, I'll be the first, but I definitely won't be the last. And that is my cue. That is my call to action, to follow in her footsteps.
Welcome back. Joe Biden's inauguration was a new chapter, not only for the United States, but also the world. The new administration making front pages news worldwide, headlines from Latin America to Africa, Europe, and Asia, quoting the president's words, proclaiming democracy has prevailed. However, President Biden faces an uphill battle when it comes to various global issues and relationships. ABC News senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell brings us the latest on the laundry list of foreign hurdles already facing our new president.
Lindsay, if you thought President Biden had a long shopping list of domestic policies to deal with, well, the shopping list here in Europe, in the Americas, in Asia, is even longer. A lot of countries have been waiting for America to return to the fold, waiting for American involvement, for American leadership. But that doesn't mean that things are just going to go back to the old days. The world has moved on, and there are opportunities, but there are also problems. We've already seen President Biden sign on the dotted line to show that America will rejoin the Paris Climate Accords. That, of course, has been broadly welcomed here in Europe, but there are many other urgent issues, not just climate change, but also how to deal with coronavirus. America has signaled that it will join in this COVAX program to provide vaccines to countries that at the moment are certainly going without, and in the future don't have the kind of supplies to try and stamp out this pandemic. But people are relieved. I think that's the word of the evening about what's happened, and looking forward to getting on with business. Let's talk about G7 summits, climate summits here in Britain later this year. The hope is that President Biden will be able to attend that. Then there are the obvious adversaries, Russia, Iran, and China. I think Russia, it will probably be largely business as usual. I don't see any warming in relationships, although Russia is hoping, and America under Biden may well comply, with re-signing on to the START, is a strategic arms reduction treaty. However, I think President Biden, a Biden administration, will hold Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin far more accountable than he was under President Trump. I think Iran, they've already signaled that they want to rejoin this nuclear arms treaty, or this nuclear treaty, the JCPOA, although that will be conditions-based. But I think above all, the main foreign policy challenge is going to be China. I think that's going to be front and center for the U.S. administration, not just this one, but those going into the future. China is now a wholehearted strategic competitor. China has consolidated, expanded, while President Trump has been in power. Europe has not had America's leadership in the same way. So I think we're going to see some tough language from America. We're also going to see the Europeans finally come on board and join in with America to try and pressure and control and contain China's expansion. Right to the other side of the world, to Central and South America, there are also some very, very immediate problems. We've already seen a so-called caravan. This is thousands of migrants, many of them fleeing the violence that is endemic in some parts of some Central American countries like Guatemala, Honduras, and so the migrant caravan has been moving towards the border. The Biden administration has made it clear it doesn't want them to come. It has made already some important changes. It said that it will halt some of those deportations, the separations that we saw under the Trump administration. There is a review underway. But the problem of people arriving on the border, especially now the president has changed, is going to be a very real-world problem. President Biden has promised a more humane policy, but in practice, we're going to see in the coming days and weeks what that really, really looks like. Lindsay?
Ian, thanks so much. And as Ian laid out, containing China will be a challenge of the Biden administration. The Chinese government sanctioned several high-ranking officials who worked for President Trump as their administration was coming to an end, in a sign of just how tense the relations have become. So where do these two superpowers go from here? Could relations get worse? And what does this mean for the pro-democracy movement in places like Hong Kong? Britt Clennett reports.
Beijing's crackdown in Hong Kong reaching a new crescendo, a dramatic pre-dawn sweep of the city's remaining pro-democracy advocates, police arresting 53 of them at their homes. Among them, American human rights lawyer John Clancy, the first foreigner to fall foul of Beijing's new security law enacted 6 months ago. The 79-year-old using his crutch as he's escorted out of his office in downtown Hong Kong.
I was very surprised both the search and also about the charges.
Clancy, a former priest, and most of the others were released on bail without charge, their passports confiscated.
I didn't have any plans to leave before this happened. I have no plans to leave right now.
The crackdown is linked to an unofficial primary poll back in July to select opposition candidates for a now postponed legislative election. All of the primary candidates were arrested in the sweep. Since the security law was introduced last summer, Beijing has become increasingly emboldened. They say the crackdown's goal is to return stability to the city after the 2019 demonstrations.
Just saw the police moving forward, protesters retreat, and again another protester down on the ground being pinned to the floor. It looks like he's been arrested.
The reality in today's Hong Kong is that the loudest voices in the Democratic camp are either in jail or in exile. The raid in Hong Kong came just hours before the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Chinese state media had a field day over footage of the rioters storming the Capitol, playing up a narrative of its rival superpower in turmoil, drawing comparisons between the U.S. insurrection and the 2019 break-in of Hong Kong's legislative chamber, saying in a statement, the U.S. mainstream media unanimously condemned the protest, calling it an incident of violence. But which words did they use to describe the violent protesters in Hong Kong? A beautiful sight to behold. The increasingly strident tone underscores the challenges the Biden administration faces from the get-go.
Does the current unrest in the U.S. strengthen Beijing's hand in quashing dissidents and opposition in Hong Kong?
The problems in America right now give Beijing the opportunity to take a tougher position where it can say to its own people, look at what democracy brings.
Professor David Zweig has been a China expert for more than 50 years. He says China will be open to bettering ties.
But will it do anything to try and will it make any concessions, right? Will it soften its position on Taiwan? Will it soften its positions on the East China Sea? Will it soften its positions in Xinjiang? And I think that they probably feel they're waiting to see what the Biden position is going to be.
From trade to security issues, the Trump administration has taken a more hardline approach to China than previous administrations. China, too, has flexed its muscles on a number of fronts.
They've had a border skirmish with the Indians. They've had a tougher relationship with Taiwan. They've cracked down in Hong Kong.
In recent months, the former administration has significantly stepped up support for Taiwan, which China sees as a breakaway province. Taiwanese military seen here in a drill on Monday aimed at repelling a Chinese attack. Beijing views the Taiwan issue as a red line, one of the many potential points of conflict for the Biden administration. But unlike other Trump policies, they plan to stick with much of Trump's pressure, including tariffs and sanctions.
I also believe that President Trump was right in taking a tougher approach to China. I disagree very much with the way that he went about it in a number of areas, but the basic principle was the right one, and I think that's actually helpful.
Anthony Blinken, Biden's pick for Secretary of State, says what will be different is rallying allies around U.S. leadership.
America, at its best, still has a greater ability than any country on earth to mobilize others for the common good.
But the Biden administration will start from behind, with U.S. alliances under strain from Trump's taunts and tariffs, and former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo calling China's policies on Muslims genocide. China inking 2 major trade pacts in the last few months with the European Union and with 14 Asia-Pacific countries. Even with allies, Biden, who already has a working relationship with Chinese President Xi Jinping from his time as Obama's VP, may find his options are especially limited on Hong Kong.
What can the Biden administration do about Hong Kong? I don't think they can do very much.
Zweig says the few options the U.S. does have may end up hurting more than helping.
What are they going to do? More sanctions, threaten to freeze people's assets. Anything that they do like that in the end winds up hurting the people of Hong Kong, right? It hurts American businesses in Hong Kong.
Back in Hong Kong, activists like Clancy are keeping the faith.
John, do you have anything to say to Hong Kong people?
Continue to work for democracy and human rights in Hong Kong.
For ABC News Live in Hong Kong, Britt Clennett.
Our thanks to Britt for that. Coming up, Kamala Harris may only have one biological sister, but she certainly has many sorority sisters. We'll talk with some of the young women in Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated following the vice president's footsteps.
Most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart they did this.
It's the time of suspicion.
The ending's really tough. You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown hate, the war among us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. #1 in the morning, #1 in the evening, with America's most watched newscast. #1 in late night versus the competition. The #1 news magazine on Friday nights. #1 in politics across this historic election versus the competition. The #1 daytime talk show. And #1 in streaming news. ABC News is America's #1 news. With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir.
We have made it through another week together.
America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
Admit it, these days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Lunchtime at 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific on ABC. It's all about you.
What kind of music do you want to make, Miss Franklin?
I want to make hits. I'm moving things forward for myself.
He's dragging you down.
You need me, Ree?
Hell I do. Go get your respect.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
There's nobody that has not been touched by this pandemic. For the first time ever, we have to have each other's backs.
This is all we got.
Wicked Tuna, new season Sunday at 9 on National Geographic. More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source.
University Showtime Marching Band escorting its most famous alumna yesterday to the White House. Vice President Kamala Harris showing love there to the HBCU where she went to college. So much history that we have witnessed firsthand just in recent weeks. Monumental moments for our country. And now the swearing in of Kamala Harris as vice president this week is being celebrated by millions of women across the country. Tonight, our Devin Dwyer introduces us to some of her sorority sisters who say that she has now inspired a new generation of women who will continue to shatter glass ceilings.
I, Kamala Davy Harris, solemnly swear that
another glass ceiling shattered. Vice President Kamala Harris inspiring millions of young black women.
Hello, my name is Rachel Howell.
My name is Dejana Newkirk.
My name is Zipporah Lucania, graduating senior.
The Sisters of Alpha Kappa Alpha, the nation's oldest black sorority at Howard University in Washington, D.C., watching one of their own reach a pinnacle of political power.
She always approaches every challenge and opportunity with what we call alpha excellence, which is doing the best and holding yourself to a certain standard in everything that you do.
Harris pledged AKA at Howard in 1986, a storied sisterhood that includes Nobel Prize winner Toni Morrison and actresses Felicia Rashad and Roxy Roker.
This is a sisterhood that is worth a lifetime, so it doesn't just stop within the 4 years. This is something that we will be a part of for the rest of our lives. Our children will be a part of.
Family is my beloved Alpha Kappa Alpha, our Divine Nine, and my HBCU brothers and sisters.
That family, including tennis great Althea Gibson, first black big city mayor Sharon Pratt, and scores of civil rights advocates, authors, musicians, and journalists.
Do you feel pressure? I mean, being among the best of the best and seeing so many from your lineage go on to do pretty amazing things?
I don't think it's pressure. I think it's just a standard we just have to live up to.
I'm interested in education, and I hope to go forward and change the state of education in the country. And she's inspired me that anything is possible for me so long as I put that hard work forward.
The AKA sisters in the class of 2021 telling us Harris has raised the bar high.
Her grace, just embodying what it truly means to be a most gracious lady. I just felt, overjoyed and just honored. And it's just a reminder of, that as Black women, we're able to do anything.
And the road ahead will not be easy, but America is ready.
She literally walked the same steps. She might have slept in the same building. I slept in the quad at Howard. She walked the yard. She majored in the same major I am. I'm just thinking the sky is really the limit.
Harris's historic ascent captured on this month's historic cover of Vogue magazine. The green and pink backdrop, proud colors of her AKA sorority. The newest generation of sisters still absorbing what they've witnessed.
A lot of times as Black women, representation and seeing yourself in positions of power and at the highest level is not a familiar feeling. And so in that moment, it was really powerful for me, especially as somebody who wants to be a glass ceiling breaker and be the first to do something as a Black woman.
I just remember thinking to myself, this is me. It was a direct mirror reflection of everything that I've aspired to want to become.
They know the road ahead won't be easy, especially with the nation still gripped by a painful reckoning with race.
I can surely believe that can be daunting, being in the second highest position in the country, but I am very, very understanding that she is well equipped.
Are any of you nervous? Does anybody worry for her, either for her personal safety in this high-profile position at this time, or just for the attacks and other scrutiny that she is likely to face as a woman of color in this position?
You can't use fear and Vice President-elect's name in the same sentence because she is nothing of that sort. She is a very courageous woman. So I definitely believe that we will definitely be here to support her.
A network of Black women seeing the beginning of a historic journey. Hopeful President Biden and Vice President Harris will be able to bring healing where others have failed.
We have to understand that change happens slowly over time. And right now, our assessment is that they're making the right steps towards progress. The biggest thing for us is getting those voices and seats at the table.
With seats at the table and a trailblazer in the White House, a proud moment for a pioneering sisterhood founded more than 100 years ago.
Could they ever have imagined one of their own being in the White House?
To be honest, because of that time, I really don't think they realized what they were laying the foundation for. And I think if they were alive today, they would be so very proud and absolutely amazed at the strides that we have made as Black women.
For ABC News Live, I'm Devin Dwyer in Washington.
So many saw our ski-weeing yesterday in solidarity. Our thanks to Devin for that. And before we go tonight, our image of the day. Workers began removing fencing near the National Mall one day after the inauguration of President Biden. Our capital's still on alert after that mob riot, but we hope that this is a sign that better days are ahead. That is our show for this hour. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us, and good night.